Welcome back, and thank you for joining me. This is a condensed version of an in-depth review of my choice between 3 of the most affordable electronic shooting earmuffs on the market. If you want to see the full video, you can find that in the link below, or you can go to my channel and find it there. But here, we're going to try to do this as quickly as possible. Today, we'll be reviewing 3 different pairs of electronic shooting earmuffs. From my left to right, we have the Leight Impact Sports, the Walker Razors, and then the Firegear. This is a lesser known brand they sell on Amazon.com. For this review, we're going to talk about the aesthetics, the functionality, and the comfort of each of these, starting with the Leight. As far as aesthetics go, the Leight are not my favorite. They're a little bit plasticky looking. They have a higher sheen kind of finish on them, and to me that makes it look a little bit cheap. I also don't love this big black section right here that exists on one side but not the other. That's the battery cover there, and I don't like how it makes the entire set look asymmetrical. Not as big a fan of these. In first place for the aesthetics category, we have both the Walkers and the Firegear. Really, it comes in at a tie because the Firegear designed their headphones right after the Walkers. So these are almost identical and they look fantastic. So it's a little bit more of an aggressive styling, which I like. I love the sleek black. As you can see, there's more of a matte finish. This is kind of a smooth, rubbery feel of a finish on the plastic, and so it makes it feel much more high quality, and I can appreciate that. Both of them have a fabric headband here, and they have the logo printed right on top of that. So overall, I prefer the look of the Walkers and the Firegear. Jumping into functionality, we'll start with the Lights. These were my least favorite in terms of functionality. They have an advertised 22 decibel noise reduction rating, which is great. However, the clamping force is unevenly distributed in that it's heavy on the top, light on the bottom, at least on my head. And so while I was firing some guns, and rifles particularly, I had a hard time with the bottom of the cup coming unclamped slightly, and that would allow some of the sound of the blast to enter into the muff, and it was uncomfortable. Didn't always happen, it only happened a few times, but it did happen repeatedly, so that was a problem for me. In second place, we have the Walkers. These did not suffer from the same issues as the Lights. They had an even clamp force from all sides and all around my ear, and so I didn't have any problems with the seal on these. The amplification of the sound coming through the speakers was great. It was high quality. It was easy to hear easy to hear where people were, and easy to hear where sounds were coming from, and so I really liked that. Coming in first place were the Firegear. I really liked the Firegear. They performed just like the Walkers with a couple of added benefits. The stereo noise, so being able to tell where things were coming from, left to right, the way that they did that was much more natural, and I liked that. It made it more comfortable to wear them all the time because I had an easier time not only understanding where things were coming from, but just having that feel more natural, so that was awesome. The second reason that these are taking first place is because unlike the Lights and the Walkers, when you fire a gun, the speaker feed cuts completely on these. The other two, they basically just lower the level of noise that's coming through the speakers. I liked that these cut the speakers out completely during gunfire. So during a shot, the speakers would turn off completely and you'd have just normal ear protection on basically. And then as soon as the gunshot was over, it would kick right back in. You could hear all of the ambient hearing safe noises. And so I liked the way they did that because it made me feel safer. I knew that I was never going to get any part of a blast coming through the actual speakers amplified into my ear. And so that was a win for me. Finally, let's talk about comfort. If hearing protection isn't comfortable, you can have a miserable day at the range. That's what I experienced with the Lights. And I feel like I've been bashing the Lights at all, which is unfortunate, but it's true. The big problem I had with these guys is that there's no padding in the headband. If there's any padding there, it's completely imperceptible. It feels like it just goes from vinyl to plastic or metal, whatever's here in this headband. And so over a long period of time, it felt like it was pushing into my head and it actually started to give me a headache. Aside from that, the cushions on the cups were very thin compared to the other two, both thin and rigid, and that created a couple of issues. One was just the comfort of the cups or the cushions on my ears. They felt a little too dense for me. And not only that, because they were thinner, the inside of the cup actually touched my ear, and that was a little bit uncomfortable, and it also made my ears get warmer in this pair than they did in the other two pairs, and so I was not a fan of the comfort of the Lights. For first place in the comfort category, we come back to a tie between the walkers and the Firegear, which I guess isn't super surprising considering that they have almost the exact same design. The only place where they really differ is in the headband. If you can see, the Firegear have an angled headband, much like the Howard Lights do, whereas the walkers have more of a curved headband, more like a traditional pair of over-the-ear headphones. Now, you would expect that maybe the walkers then would be the more comfortable because it's a more natural shape. However, what I found is that when wearing a baseball cap, the Firegear were more comfortable. Without a baseball cap, I found the walkers to be slightly more comfortable with the shape of the band. I'm not exactly sure why that was, but it remained true. Whenever I was wearing my baseball cap, I definitely preferred the feel of the Firegear. Then when I went without, I went ahead and I switched to the walker for comfort. So what's the final verdict then? When it comes to these three pairs of electronic earmuffs, I recommend the Firegear. The Firegear had all of the great benefits of the walkers, plus I liked the way that they handled the electronic amplification better. The stereo sound coming through the left ear and the right ear seemed more natural to me. It was easier for me to know where sounds were coming from. And I like the way that they cut out completely when you're firing rifles and how that feels more safe to me. Not to mention, they're also the cheapest set of earmuffs on this list, coming in at only around $40 on Amazon. But don't be mistaken, not only is this a great set of electronic muffs for the price, it's a great set of electronic muffs, period. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you want a more in-depth review on these three pairs of shooting protection, go ahead, check out the link below in the description, or jump onto my channel and you can find it there as well. Thanks so much.